Today we have a phenomenal guest, a great author with a brand new book, and this book is called Today as a Lifetime. I believe this is going to be a fantastic show today. You're going to get some information that will show you and prepare you to live your best life daily with Mr. Rafael Escoto. Hello. I'm very, very excited and have the most high regard for our guest today, Mr. Rafael Escoto. Now, the thing that I am so fascinated about this gentleman, this author, this book that he wrote, this gentleman came in after giving up a multi-million-dollar business and decided to lead people on the path of wholeness, reinvigorating their mind, body, and spirit. What does all that mean? Well, I'm sure Rafael's going to tell us. Mr. Escoto, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's very
Thank
nice
you,
to have
Dr.
you
Street.
here. Okay. Now, your book is called Today as a Lifetime. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, I spent many years confused. A lot of uncertainties, searching for meaningful life. And as I was going through this problem in my life, I was finding answers as I was going along. And I never thought in my whole life that I was going to write a book. So I was writing all these notes through the years, but I never thought about writing a book.
Just notes of self-reflection, your journey, just kind of correcting and looking at your life as it were, and what you wanted to change.
But today, as a lifetime, we are talking about today. We're not talking about tomorrow. We're not talking about past. It's about today and the now. And that is what is left for all of us to live today. Not to be so much worried about yesterday and tomorrow. And the book very much illustrates the big problem that we have in life. That doesn't get us anywhere.
So in introducing this book, and for the sake of our audience, would you say just a little bit of overview as an introduction as to what would they expect in reading a book of this nature?
I think they would be surprised, shocked.
Shocked.
Because 98% of us are in the dark.
Okay.
And if you are in the light, in the spiritual, very possible you will be learning some wonderful things. However, I think what will happen is going to bring some awareness into your life.
Okay. How do you see life? Or say life as human. I hear you say like spiritual, and then you say human. How do you see life?
Life is a mystery. 4 cycles in life: death, love, and that itself will say, we ask the question, who we are, where we're going in life, where am I, who am I?
And what's our purpose? Most people always try to figure out what their purpose is, but they don't know how to find that purpose. Would you say, at least this, your material, your book, as I was reading some of the excerpts, it leads you, kind of guides you into at least directing you toward a point where you can say, wait a minute, what is my purpose? And how do I manage to get from point A to point B or point C? Well, how do I get there?
Well, let me put it this way. I have 8 chapters in the book, and what we do with the first part of the introduction and the first and the second chapter, we address the problems of life. And the second part, we address the solution. And the third chapter, the fourth and the fifth through the eighth, is built around energy flowing. That you, as you read the chapters and you can digest and understand it, you build energy within you. The third chapter is the 28 minutes, and that's very much as an exercise, early morning.
So, 28 minutes. So you're saying that within these pages you show us at least programming or getting a tool of doing something for about 28 minutes each day can at least get our pattern set for that day.
It's a very powerful exercise, because the book said today we have to start transforming ourselves. When I get up in the morning, I don't know where I am and what I need to do. But the first step is communicate with God, say a few words between you and God, look at the day, what you're doing during the day, and 3, make up the bed, please. This is very powerful. Okay,
Right.
it's
That's a good one.
powerful that you bring clarity into your life. First task of the day, Tai Chi movements, body movements is very, very, very important. Okay, stretch. It's an old ancient yoga exercise. Breathing exercise is extremely important. The breath, shifting the nerves mechanism into a calm state is very important. And you follow up into play some music behind meditation for 2 or 3 minutes. Play some music soft. I recommend you to do classical, or you can play meditation music. Okay, eat, put something nutritional in your stomach. Okay, so you can have some energy. Do some little bit of cleaning surfaces in the bathroom and kitchen. And those are the steps that I recommend you to sort of transform yourself to feel good for the day and doing good. So before you go out of the door, you give a hug to the person that you care about, that you share in space with, and say goodbye. And I'm sure, I guarantee you, that those will actually keep you very energetic for 3 or 4 hours, very possible, before 1 o'clock. But the other chapter will kick, which is the daily lifestyle.
Right. So what it sounds like you're saying, most of all, is when you, as you begin each day, this needs to be a regular practice. You start a day very calmly, but yet you're setting the tone for your day to be more successful because you've set a tone. You've set something very
Yes.
peaceful, very polite,
Yep.
very calming, and I like to say maybe centered. I know something else in your book. You said there's a dysfunction with humans, and this is why they need these type of tools and exercise.
Yes. Let me take you how big the problem is. I don't want
Okay.
to scare everybody,
Right.
please, because I have the solution for you, okay, where you can find peace. But this problem with human is that Eckhart Tolle and the planet Earth, the book, he said that there is a mental dysfunction with human from birth.
From birth.
From birth.
Wow.
And on top of that is that we do most of our learning through childhood.
Okay.
And when we reach the age of adulthood, we are hooked into autopilot behavior, which is a habit. Habits are very easy to formulate. And those habits will never go away and you very possibly don't know where they reside.
So what you're actually saying is, even from a child, and as we start, and this thing that we build, it's a formulation of our personality, or so we think it's our personality. So then we go through the mechanics or the automatics of it.
Yeah.
Is that where you're speaking more of that?
Yes, I'm speaking that 3/4 of our life we spend it in the mechanics if shouldn't, don't, confuse, uncertainties. So we wasted most of our life in these habits and problems that we have from birth, and the problems as a growing up that Einstein said it too, adding to the problems that we are more fascinated with problems with alcohol.
Like the pleasures.
Yeah, the pleasures.
People get hooked on pleasures and they're
exactly.
not doing anything else,
Exactly.
maybe.
Pleasures.
Even though they're needed, but
they are
with
money,
imbalance.
pleasures, sex, alcohol, drugs, and that is what we, as a human, follow. This is where we gravitate to, and that is adding to the problems.
So there's no real balance. You said something when we opened the show. You talked about spirituality and bringing that in. So all of these things outside of it, we're trying to center ourselves. We're trying to find peace. That's really what people want, right?
Yes.
They want happiness. They want
Yeah.
peace. So you're saying if there's a dysfunction, now they've got to reformulate the habits. Oh man, that's a big project.
Well,
change what you were doing.
That's the reason why I bring the chapter 1 and chapter 2, expressing the problems that we have, see if we can become aware and conscientious of them, because we need to get into the solutions. And we have some great solutions to the problems, but I'm sure you have some other questions that still in the arena of the problems.
Right.
Yes.
Because I was looking at something. You said something earlier. In this dysfunction, there's a way to understand that it is a dysfunction. See, what if a person doesn't know? They're like, oh, this is just me. This is just my character. This is what I do. And you know, the young kids say, oh, I'm just doing me. I've heard them say that. I'm like, so what is actually you? You're getting in trouble or things are happening to you. It goes back to the childhood piece where you talked about the mind.
Yeah.
And the things that happen that formulate these habits. Did you want to talk about a little bit more about the type of habits or the type of things that's been programmed in us that need to change, that we need to replace? I think you list several things that happens in the mind or what's going on that causes this dysfunction.
Well, we have some other complications, some other problem too, is that the mind is intimately connected to the memories. So, and that especially when we have some mental blocks and things from our childhood, and they keep coming back again. That's why that we need to concentrate in the present, in the now, because that's all we have to concentrate. So they create problems. While we digging up in the past and bringing those memories, they become they're obstacles. They're obstacles for us to succeed in life. And I will tell you this with the karma. If you go to karma and you bring all these and you meditate to the karma, you bring it into your fate. And that's very much controlling your fate. What you're going to do in life is controlling you. And that is a false belief, and a false habit.
Okay.
The next one is your self-image. Yeah, your self-image is a very complex picture of who you are and what you've been told and what you become to believe. Now you got your destiny. So you are destined to ruin your whole life before you can see and live life with peace,
Fully. Right.
fully, love.
Wow. So, as a whole, you're saying that the majority of the human nature is a little mixed up, to say the least, right?
I forgot to tell you this.
Okay.
Adding to the pile of problems.
Okay.
The school system, the medias,
Okay.
governments, they bring us into failure in life because we are not awakening. We're walking like a zombies.
And how
And
so?
98% of us not going anywhere.
When you say they bring in with suggestions, like I call them subliminal suggestions, like things we see on TV or things we see that program our mind to certain things. That's what you mean when you say governments and schools. They bring their own idea of what they say or what we should be like or how we should be.
The whole world is programmed to fail. We live an illusion. It's an illusion. The mind is an illusion. The world of mind is an illusion. Okay? Therefore, your mind can work when you really controlling, when you are powerful controlling. You author your life and you're controlling your mind. Because your mind only works with reason and logic and doesn't have no comprehension of the spiritual world. They don't have no connection whatsoever. Okay? So if you stay there, you will stay there, ruin your whole life. So you have to get out of there. There's a point in your life which the mind sort of mature and you integrate your mind with the spirit world.
So we're speaking basically, that's the connection of the problem with human. That's what you were saying from the beginning. The problematic things that happen with just the human nature, just being human. So now we're saying, in order for that humanness to function properly and to find a place, just a place where they can flow or feel better in life, they must connect with the spiritual?
Yes.
Okay. And so how is that done? I know we talked about the 28 minutes.
Well, let me just say to you that you can sense and feel and bring discernment when you're in the spiritual world. Okay?
Absolutely.
The question is humility. Are you a humble person? Okay? And the humility is part of, I always say the different parts are attachment to things. Human are obsessive with things. So if you attach it to things, it means you are not humble. If you are a selfish person, you are not humble. If you have, which is one of the most problematic one, is the egotistical self.
You said it's the most problematic one.
That's one of the most problematic one.
Okay.
But it's also to not forgive it. Forgiveness.
Yeah.
Is another one. So there's all different small parts of that. It brings humanity. It brings humility. And if you question yourself, am I a humble person? Okay, you have to dig up very deep because if you are, if you're in a level of pandemonium, a level, and you're confused in life, and you don't have, you don't know thyself.
Right, know yourself.
Yeah, because that's one of the root things, knowing thyself and knowing that the truth is infinite.
Now, see,
And
that's something else.
That's where you start developing, understanding who you are. In the book,
Yes.
The answer's here in the book.
Wow.
Okay, who you are in many different forms, you become to be.
Then you begin to, I would say, I think there's something else I was reading in your book about awareness. So in order to know who you are, or to become that person where you've gotten rid of all the old things that doesn't serve you well because you haven't been happy. You remember you said from the beginning what made you write the book was that you just didn't feel happy. There was something was still missing. So in connecting that missing piece, finding out who you are, that is the place of awareness.
Well, that's the point where I came from the beginning. We said, why you write this book? Well, the concern about human suffering and pain, and see that because I was aware of these things myself. I went through that, okay, and these boats of sadness, problems and confusing, suffering. It's just like it comes and goes, and stay there all the time. It just comes and goes, and that's the life that we live quietly, silently.
Suffering silently.
Suffering, yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And I had to do that. I had to write the book because my children, I want them to know. I want them, my friends to know. I want our society to know.
Yeah.
I want humanity to know about these things. And that is what motivated me to write this book.
Wow. I think you said something about, I was reading, I said, it was just an amazing article to me, and reading about someone who has systematically found a way to take you steps, and I call them an ascending type of steps. You said something about linear thinking or something in your book, and I wanted to understand that from that perspective.
That some of these dysfunction that we have is the illusion and delusional things that are happening to us, like six senses, is very much delusional. Yes, because it just works with the mind.
Wow.
It works on a temporary basis, and so it's a linear thinking, which is past, present, and future. That's another problem.
Oh, that's another problem.
Yes.
We either live it in the past
Yeah.
or we're so already wanting the
Exactly.
future we forget to.
That's the reason why we have to live in the now, in the
Wow.
present.
Yes.
And that's what the book is all about. Living the present and living in the now. And you have that 28 minutes and you have that mindfulness, which you actually focus on awareness in the spirits.
Right.
You know.
You mentioned something in there. Can't wait till you see this, but you've got to read through it. It's going to take a minute. I said this will become somebody's little encyclopedia or a dictionary
It
that
is
they
a
have to
Bible.
refer back
It
to.
is a Bible.
It will be. Yes.
It is a Bible.
Yes.
It's a reference book.
Because when you
It's
talk
a
about,
reference book.
because
Yes.
when you get in the middle of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you talked about something about the middle way. Now that's a term I wasn't familiar with. Could you enlighten us about the middle way?
I would say that I spent many years going to different church, and I found that my last place of visit was a Japanese Buddha temple, and they teach Buddhism, and I was very much involved teaching Buddhism. It's a great methods and practice, tools, techniques, and disciplining. And I learned that the ultimate of life, to be happy, is that the essence of knowing how to be content. in life, how to embrace life and love life is the highest happiness that you can find. You cannot really find the ultimate, but to be content,
Right.
it is the
To be at
medicine
peace.
to be happy in life.
Okay, so that was that. That's the category of
Yeah.
the middle way, and so all this type of balance and all the things we've talked about leads you to a place of wholeness, where you feel whole and you feel complete. You won't feel that void anymore.
Yes.
Is that what this book seems to direct you there?
Yes. Well, you cannot really find this solution or find that place where people are actually craving for, which is fulfilling and peace. You know, I want peace. I want love. But you have to embrace the wholeness. The wholeness is like a tree, okay?
Okay.
That has branches and has this. So you must master all of them in order to get to that destination. And you need to understand it, that you need to understand the problems.
So this is quite
you
a
have
bit
to-
of information. So
you
you're
gotta
building
deal-
a
you-
tapestry.
Yeah,
You basically build a
gotta
tapestry for
deal with-
yourself.
And one of the things that I can suggest that is very powerful, because everything is energy, okay?
Okay.
And energy comes from the universe. The universe, how the universe works, okay? And you need to really understand that, because what we have that quantum physics, the molecules and atoms and particle floating on the space, which is energy. You know, matter and energy is the same, okay?
Okay.
But they are floating everywhere. And believe it or not, we have energy right now everywhere. Everything is made out of energy.
Yes,
it
it
depends
is.
on the frequency and vibration, okay? Everything. And even you feel the energy of other people. Either it's positive energy or it's negative energy. Now, how would that connect into the physical, in the organ system, in the cells, and the organism, and in regard to the immune system? Okay? Well, they all work together. They talk to each other. They're conversing with each other.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And not just that. It's the form and the formless, which is the heart and the brain, okay? The mind, the spiritual,
Right.
the physical, the emotion, the energy. They all work together.
Right.
There's their interconnectedness with those things.
Wow. You know, I was thinking as you were speaking of that, people say, oh, what's your doctorate? And that's why I'm doctor of ministry. I understand I teach the spiritual path and all of that. But I realize that these tools and these other aspects of what you're saying are exercises, I like to call them sometimes rituals, or things that people have to incorporate, good habits, so that they can lead, so the spiritual part of them can balance. You can give people a good inspired word, but if they're all mixed up in the head, it's how they receive it or they don't receive it. Exactly, right? So you want it to be clear. And I think I like the idea of this particular piece of work, your authorship, that's bringing a clarity how to create a path for many of us, or many of them that don't know how to get there. Then their spirituality or their spiritual life balances well. Now they're perceiving the scripture correct if they're going to use the Bible as one piece. Some people like to say higher power. Some people say God. Whatever that force is, we know that the God force, or the force of God, the source of God, is where we launch. And when we say that, people say, what do you mean with God? What if you're not a believer? You said one thing, I think you mentioned something about when you think of God, then it's love. That's where you lead the people to
Well,
love themselves, love life, and love living life.
Let me say that the worst fear is not dying or losing the loved one and all these other things. Okay.
Okay.
It is boredom. Boredom is killing us. Being bored to death. So, when you find, how do you feel the vacuum, boredom in this earth? Okay. Well, I can give you a few examples. Okay. One is that love. Okay. Love, you cannot contain yourself. It just passed by you. It's like a river. It's like a wind just passing by. When you have love, you found everything. Okay? And that's a big chunk to keep yourself busy without boredom because you got love.
Yeah.
Now, how about passion? Are you going to be suffering with cancer and all these different problems that is going to occur because you're dragging your feet to go to work because you don't have a passion? We're here to serve in some sort of capacity. And when we get paid, that's extra pay. Okay? So
we have to see it from a different perspective.
The passion,
Right.
the passion will carry on some time for us to be busy. There's so many different packets, but the purpose is extremely important for us to bring that remedy, that medicine for boredom, because boredom is killing us in this earth. No, you can play tennis, you can play this, you can golf, but these are small packets. You know, you can bring all the things in the equation, but those are a big one.
Right.
And a great
So
percentage.
boredom.
Yeah.
Wow.
So boredom is something that we really have to take care. And we're taking care when we have love. If we don't have love, not love that takes, but love that gives.
Now, this is a good time to get this book. I believe it's going to change and metamorphose your life in a way and the next level of the things that you've wanted to do for yourself. Thank you, Mr. Escoto. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to reading Today as a Lifetime.